The BNSF racetrack from Chicago to Aurora is more than just a commuter line. There's a lot of freight traffic as well. So let's go find out more. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of my series on building a new model railroad. Now in this episode I'm going to be talking about the freight operations, or just briefly talking about the freight operations on this line. Now the BNSF racetrack is from Chicago to Aurora. It's being used by commuter and freight traffic, and a lot of the commuter traffic is express, so it goes pretty fast, only stops at a few stations, and some of the freight traffic goes straight through if there's no commuter traffic in the way. So trains sometimes can go through at quite a speed. So before I get started, if you haven't subscribed already, please click on the subscribe button down below and make sure you click on the bell icon to receive all notifications. So in this episode, I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to the freight traffic on this line. Just showing you the various yards on the line. I'll just give a brief overview of what the freight traffic is like, along with a couple of videos I took on my last trip. In a future episode, I'll go into more detail on the freight traffic, along with any switching jobs that are on the route. I'm still doing research into that, so I don't really know full details of that yet, but it'll come up later this year. So let's get started on the brief introduction. So there are 3 main yards on the Chicago sub. There's the Western Avenue yard just outside Chicago itself, which is an interchange yard between the BNSF and Norfolk Southern. Then there's a big intermodal yard at Cicero, which is one of BNSF's main intermodal yards in the Chicago area. And then on the far side, on the west, just outside Aurora, is Eola Yard, which is an interchange yard and also a carload classification yard. The BNSF also has some large yards in the area that are just south of the Des Plaines River, but these don't form part of the Chicago sub, so I won't be modelling these. But there is a large classification yard with a hump yard as well. Now the Western Avenue yard is an interchange between the Norfolk Southern and also the Union Pacific as well. Now just above the Western Avenue yard is Union Pacific's Global One intermodal yard, and just next to that is the TTX Company rail car facility. Now moving over to Cicero Yard. The Cicero Yard is the main BNSF intermodal facility in the Chicago area, in the Chicago sub. Now this yard handles intermodal traffic going westwards towards Washington, Oregon and Minnesota. It also handles a lot of interchange traffic between the other 3 Chicago intermodal yards. Now just outside Aurora is Eola Yard. Now this yard is a classification yard and handles a lot of the traffic within the Chicago area for the local switching jobs, as well as up the West Chicago branch, which goes up north of Aurora to a big industrial switching area. It also handles interchange traffic with the Belt Railway of Chicago, which is a large switching railway, in fact the largest in the United States, which serves the whole Chicago area and interchanges with all the major railroads in the area and handles most of the switching in the Chicago area. Now let's finish this brief introduction with some video I took from my recent trip to Chicago. Now this is from the cab car of a metro service passing a freight train just outside Aurora. This is passing through Cicero Yard with Chicago in the background. The tank train on the left is on one of the main tracks, intermodal traffic on the right on the yard tracks. In this final clip, a TOFC freight is heading towards the Cicero Yard, while a local switcher has just finished switching the Pepperidge Farm commercial bakery. So I hope that was useful information for you. So just a brief introduction to it. I'll go into detail in a future episode. The next episode coming up in a few weeks is going to be about what I want from this model railroad. The reason I started this railroad is because my previous one had a few limitations on it. So this one I want to concentrate more on the operations, and I've got a few features I want to include. So I will go into more detail on that in the next episode. So make sure you subscribe down below, click on that little bell icon to make sure you receive notification of when my next episode is coming out. So thank you for watching and see you soon.